The grandfather clock struck midnight, each chime vibrating through the cold, silent house. Evelyn sat alone in the parlor, a flickering candle casting distorted shadows on the walls. The house had been abandoned for decades, but here she was, guided by an old, leather-bound journal she found in the attic. The journal belonged to a man named Harold White, who wrote obsessively about the Others, an enigmatic group he claimed lived in the walls. As Evelyn read through the cryptic entries, a peculiar passage caught her eye. At midnight, they come out to play. They live behind the skin, in the dark spaces between thoughts. The candle flickered wildly, casting eerie silhouettes that danced and twisted. A cold breeze whispered through the parlor, though the windows were shut tight. Evelyn shivered, her eyes darting to the old paintings hanging crookedly on the walls. They depicted grotesque, featureless figures that seemed to watch her every move. Suddenly, a soft, rhythmic scratching began from within the walls. Evelyn froze, heart pounding. The scratching grew louder and more frantic, as if something or someone was trying to get out. She pressed her ear to the wall, the sound now a series of desperate, clawing noises. With trembling hands, Evelyn grabbed a nearby poker and began tapping on the wall, trying to pinpoint the source of the noise. The scratching stopped abruptly. In the dead silence, Evelyn could hear her own breathing, ragged and shallow. Without warning, the wall before her began to ripple, as if a dark, gelatinous substance was pushing through. An eye, large and glistening, emerged from the wall, followed by a distorted face. It stared at her with a sickening, inhuman curiosity. Evelyn stumbled backward, her scream catching in her throat. The eye blinked once, and the face vanished back into the wall. The scratching resumed, now louder and more insistent. Evelyn backed away, but her foot caught on something. She looked down and saw a small brass key embedded in the floorboards. With a sense of dread, she realized it must fit the old, rusted door in the basement, the only place she hadn't dared to explore. As she picked up the key, the air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to close in. She could hear faint whispers, an unsettling chorus of voices that spoke in hushed, unintelligible tones. Evelyn's pulse quickened. She had to know what was behind that door, but every instinct screamed at her to flee. With one last glance at the parlor, Evelyn made her way toward the basement stairs. The whispers grew louder, turning into a cacophony of desperate pleas. She hesitated, her hand trembling as she reached for the basement door. The journal's final entry echoed in her mind. They are waiting. Beware the others. As she turned the key, the door creaked open, revealing only darkness. The whispers surged to a crescendo, and Evelyn stepped into the void, swallowed by the unseen horrors that lurked beyond.